Okay guys, good evening and thanks for joining our webinar session tonight on WordPress maintenance and backup recovery. This is actually the 9th lesson that we have on our ongoing e-commerce and digital marketing bootcamp. I'm hoping that you have your own website already so that you can apply the learnings that you have acquired so far into your e-commerce website, particularly on this lesson, WordPress maintenance and backup recovery. I don't have that much presentation to show. It's more on actual demonstration. As you have noticed it, guys, your WordPress site is really a very powerful software and it's made up of different parts. Of course, you already have your web hosting service and you've got to install there the WordPress CMS itself, and you've installed themes and plugins. And on top of that, you may also have images and the posts. And all of that, of course, are something we cannot afford to lose, right? So it's very important that you know how to maintain the website and recover it in any case something goes wrong, okay? So here are the WordPress maintenance checklist that you should have, at least based on the assessment I did on what we are doing also at TechWorks. And I'm hoping that we are able to go through everything, and I'm hoping that I would be able to perform a smooth demonstration. So without any further ado, I'm going to discuss each one of these first, and after that, probably in about 20 minutes, we will proceed with the demonstration, okay? So the very first item on your checklist must be the WordPress security. And of course, we have already tackled SSL, right? Using the really simple SSL plugin, and you address the failed logins and brute force, and also log out idle users or other scenario using plugins like all-in-one security, WordFence, and also if you can, you have to use two-factor authentication. This is the security measure where you are asked to provide a certain code from your mobile device in any case you log into the website, okay? And of course, you have to change all your WordPress passwords, including the website itself on WordPress, the passwords for your FTP and your databases, okay? And also, the third one, you must ensure that you have a complete backup of your site and monitor your files. Monitor in the sense that you have to really investigate if there's something suspicious and take action based on your assessment. Of course, you have to check and update the WordPress files, like the core files, the plugins, the themes. And if necessary, you have to delete unused themes and plugins and only download legit themes and plugins from the repository or from the WordPress directories, okay? So we also have delete spam comments. This is very important so that those spam comments won't have any further activity, particularly if those spam comments have malicious links inside them that can compromise the website. And I'm going to show you later on how to delete lots of spam comments on a single click if you needed that as a solution, particularly if there are just so many spam comments in your WordPress sites. And also, make sure that your WordPress forms are working. Make sure that you are receiving the emails, the sign-ups, and also make sure that you have security measure in place to address the WordPress forms, like using the Google CAPTCHA, okay? I'm going to show you that also. Also, make sure that you have on your checklist optimizing the databases. I'm going to show you also later on how you can optimize the database. And next, performance tests. This is very important so that you are able to see how your website is performing based on the different standards that companies like Google or GTmetrix, what they have established as a guide or as a benchmark. And next is you must fix 404 errors, or you will at least address 404 errors in such a way that you are not compromising the user experience. At the same time, you are not losing traffic or potential customers. Another thing is you have to fix broken links on your website. I'm going to introduce you a certain plugin that you can use to fix broken links, or should I say to find broken links across the entire WordPress installation, and of course your posts and pages. On your checklist, you must have content and SEO audit using Google Analytics and Google Search Console and use SEO. And of course, by actually looking at your traffic data, of course. Image optimization, I'm going to walk you through what different best practices on how to optimize the images on your website. And lastly, make sure that you are reviewing your analytics and tracking codes on your sites, particularly when you update the WordPress themes, which may lose or override some of those original files that you have containing the trackers or the analytics and tracking code. Okay, so let's do it. Let's proceed with the demonstration, guys. So the first one is WordPress security. I'm going to use our TechWorks site just to show it to you how it really looks like inside with a website with so many information on it already. And I may be able to also use other websites like the TechWorks, the training, or my tech blog, or the other sites that we have. But for now, we'll check if TechWorks main website will suffice for the demonstration. Okay, so for the WordPress security, we normally use WordFence. And by the way, guys, before you make any changes on your website, like critical changes, it's very important that you at least back up your website so that whatever happens, or if there's something that goes wrong prior to the implementation of those changes. And I might be able to jump to the third item, create a complete backup of site and monitor files. We will need to do this first so that I can emphasize or I can show to you that creating a backup is very essential before doing some maintenance on the website. Now, talking about backup, there are actually two ways to do that. The first one is the server side, which means creating a backup right inside your cPanel or your web server. Okay, so within your cPanel, you will see there's an option for your files, particularly a certain tool called Backup Wizard. Now, to back up your site, you can just click on that one. If it's going to be the very first time that you are going to back up the website, you won't see anything inside your backup drive, okay? So since I have done this already so many times, we have different databases there, and also we have a local copy of our full site, okay? So let me show you how to create a backup using the Backup Wizard. You just have to click on this one, and then you will select if you are going to create a backup for the entire website, or you'll just create partial backup like just the home directory of the website or the MySQL databases or email forwarders. Now, you just have to click on this one, say full backup, and the server will create a backup and ask you to where you are going to save that backup. So I'm going to save this at the home directory, and I will have this email address notified whenever the backup is finished. Okay? Okay, so it says full backup is in progress, and once the full backup has been completed, the cPanel will send a notification to my email address. For the meantime, because it's a very huge website with more or less 5 gigabytes of data, that would really take long, but we can go back to cPanel and it says in progress. Of course, I can delete this one later on, but for the sake of demonstration, let's just go back to the other options on doing a backup, which is using the WordPress dashboard. If you are going to do the backup within WordPress, you can also do that using different plugins that we have discussed before. Again, I have introduced to you Updraft and other backup tools like All-in-One or WordPress Backup plugin. My personal preference is actually Updraft Plus, but of course, you can just go to the search plugin directory and find different WordPress backup plugin you like. So it's just a matter of searching here for the different backups, but without any discussion of the other plugins, I'm just going to introduce to you right away the Updraft Plus backup plugin. Why? Because for us, it's a proven plugin, and by experience, it's something that we use across all sites, and we don't have any problem with that. But you are free to find alternatives. In any case, you find Updraft Plus, something not the perfect solution for you. Now, using Updraft Plus to back up your website, you just have to create a backup within the plugin. Okay, so how to do the backup basically with Updraft is you just have to click Backup Now. Okay, for demonstration, I can show it to you here right now. Now it says here that include your database in the backup. Of course, we have to include the database and the WordPress files, everything inside WordPress. We have to include that in the backup as well. And there's an option here to only allow this particular backup to be deleted manually. Now, I normally click on this one if I do the manual backup. Okay, so backup now. So it's going to ask you to select different WordPress files like plugins, themes, uploads, and other directories. I normally include that in the backup so that I don't have any problem. Although you have an option, particularly if you, like, for example, you just updated the themes and the plugins did not have any backup history like over the past 7 days, and you are going to do a backup on the current day. My point is, if you don't have any changes there, you don't have to keep saving the same files from WordPress. But for this demonstration, I'm going to show to you that we're going to select all WordPress files. Normally, guys, when you do the backup with Updraft Plus, the next thing you will do is you will download those backups so that you have a copy on your local drive. And you are going to use that also on your staging site. The staging site is like this one. This is our live site, and this is the staging site. Now, I'm going to show you, once we have the backup ready, how to move the main website that's already live to a staging site or to a test site so that we can further check the updates or changes on the staging site before we push it back to the current live site. Okay, so we have the backup ready already right now. The next thing you'll do is to download all of this. You just have to click the database, the plugins, the themes, uploads, and everything, including the other folders. Now, for demonstration, I actually did a backup earlier before the webinar, because imagine there's more or less 1 gigabyte of data there that we're going to download. So it's going to be the same files that we are going to upload to the staging site, but think about that as something that we just downloaded right now, and it came from this particular backup folders. Okay, so for now, I'm going to revert all those changes. I'm going to delete this and delete this so that I only have this particular backup available within Updraft Plus. Okay, so take a look at this. From 1 gigabyte, I only have more or less 700 megabytes left for techworkspage.com. Now, take a look at this, guys. This is the live site. Okay, and we have there the store, the pages, the posts, everything. Now, I'm going to move that to this staging site, and you will notice that, guys, that we have here a very old website we have that don't have any store, any new posts or pages. To move this site to the staging using Updraft Plus, it only involves the same plugin on the staging site. Remember, this is div.techworkspage.com and this is techworkspage.com. This one is staging or test site. This one is live site. Now I'm going to move live site to staging using Updraft. Now, why it's important, guys, again, to move to staging? It's because the changes that we're going to make will look fine without any issues, without any problem on staging before we push it back to the live site. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to delete everything here. These are all previous backups on the staging, and I'm going to delete that one because I don't need it anymore. Okay, so this is a very fresh Updraft Plus installation without any existing backup. But I'm going to upload the backup that we have from the live site to the staging site. Now, how are we going to do that? You simply just have to click on Upload Backup Files, okay? And select the backup files, basically the backup files that came from the live site. And I'm going to show it here to you guys. So as you can see, I created a backup here from the live website and I saved it on a local drive. Okay, just not to confuse you, I'm going to show it again. So this is the website, the live website, and we created a backup, this one, within Updraft, and saved it on our local drive. And this is that particular drive we're talking about. So that backup we saved on local drive is this one. All of these are the backups. upload those files to staging so that I can have the backup from the live site on the staging site. Okay, so this is it. Now I'm going to select this all and upload. Okay, so what Updraft Plus is doing right now is it's uploading all the backup files from the live site to the dev site or to the staging site. And of course, we expect our staging site to look very similar or the same as with the main website. Okay, so while we are waiting for that, let me proceed with the other items on this webinar. Okay, so again, while we are working the backup, we can go back to the first item on your checklist, which is WordPress security. Now, for the WordPress security, we have WordFence, and the last time we did on our test site is we just installed WordFence, but did not really configure that any further. But you can actually set it up further, like setting up the firewall. Okay, so let's check WordFence and the firewall settings. So you can have here the blocking options. In any case, there are some kind of suspicious IP address that you want to block, you can do it here. Just you can see here, the plugins itself, based on its current settings, it has blocked different IPs with different malicious intentions on your site. You can also customize the settings for the scan feature, like how you want to run the scan feature, the sensitivity level. You can manage it here. So for now, I set it to high sensitivity, but you can also set it to standard. Each of these settings on scan has different level of being sensitive to different malwares or attacks. Of course, you also have tools within WordFence that you can use. You can further customize it like this one, the 2FA. Although this one is not available for the free version, but that's fine. In any case you want to use it, you can do that, 2FA or two-factor authentication. Okay, you can have the diagnostic here to see what's happening on your site. You can have here the further settings on your security. For the meantime, let's go back to that Updraft Plus. Okay, so it's still uploading the files from our backup. It will take time. Now, that's for the security, guys. Since we're talking about maintenance, you are going to like run scan. So we have to click on this one to see what are those issues that WordFence has seen so far. But we can also run a new scan if needed be. But for now, you can take a look at these results. It says here that the level of threat is medium, meaning it may be serious, but you have to take a look at the description. So from here, I can see that it's medium because it's just a plugin update or a WordPress theme update. But on this case, it says critical. But if I'm going to like click on the details, I can see that this is not a core file. This maybe is a malware because it's a PHP file, and normally malwares are created using PHP. Now, I can delete this one, but be careful when deleting files, guys, because at high sensitivity level of scanning, WordFence may threat a normal file as a threat, what we call as false positive or false alarm. But it's very important that you take a look at the details. If you see that it's a WordPress file and it says critical and it asks you to delete, make sure that you don't do that because that will affect the website. Again, not all of the threats that indicated here on WordFence are real threats. Some of those are just WordPress files. Because of the settings that you have, WordFence treat it as a serious threat to the website. But again, you have to double check on that manually. Okay, let's go back here. It's still uploading. So far right now, all of the results that we have seen are actually related to updates on plugins and themes. So we can just wait for that until we have the staging ready so that we can do that on the staging. So that's basically how you do it. Now, if you want to like run another scan, you can just click start new scan and it will scan the website all throughout. Of course, you can stop or cancel anytime. The disadvantage with WordFence or other plugins when doing scan is they normally ask users to keep the window open or active. Because when you switch to other window, like if I click outside of that, it will say that the scanning status is post. So I have to click inside WordFence again to resume. Okay, so let's go back with our presentation while we are waiting for the backup to be uploaded on the staging site. Change all the WordPress passwords. This is very simple, guys. You just have to change passwords on your website, your FTP access, and your databases. Now, about password, since we are going to deal with so many sites along the way, it's very important that you have a password manager that you will use. On my case, I normally use like this one, LastPass. Okay, so you can download this as an extension within your browser. And I also use Dashlane for the clients, this one. It's also a browser extension. You can download it within the extension directory within your respective browsers. So there are many solutions actually for password manager, but I normally use those two particular extensions. Let's proceed with the other items on the checklist. Now, check and update WordPress files such as core files or plugins or themes. Now, here's what I'm going to suggest to you guys. I'm using this particular plugin called Health Check to check the website from every component of it, like the WordPress version, the plugin versions, the theme versions, the PHP version, the database server version, everything. Now, as you can see here, there are some that needs to be checked or updated. It's actually very timely that we have this particular session because I really want it to show to you how to address all of this. Now, we're just waiting on the staging site before we can perform this one. But the plugin that I'm using is called Health Check. You just have to go to the plugin directory again and then install a certain plugin called Health Check. This one. Health Check and Troubleshooting by the WordPress.org community. Okay, so you just have to search that one and install and activate, and it will automatically put an health check link here which you can click and see what you need to check and update or address to. Okay, so that's how I normally check my WordPress installation. Of course, guys, you have to delete unused themes, as I've said earlier, and plugins. Now, when deleting spam comments, normally when you only have very few spam comments, you can just go to the comment section and click on the spam comments section. Now, I can easily click on this one, all of it, because I only have 106 spam comments, but you can also click on this particular button to empty the scan. Now, let me do it to show it to you. Now, why you need to delete the spam comments? It's part actually of your maintenance so that those spam comments are no longer threat for you, particularly if those comments contain malicious links that may trigger those malicious scripts that may play around or work in the background, particularly on your server. So that's for the comments. Also, when you work with WordPress forms, guys, make sure that your forms are working. For example, your contact forms are sending you emails. And to do that, on my case, I normally use a certain plugin called Contact Form 7. And I further configure that one with another plugin called WordPress Mail SMTP by WordPress Forms. Why I'm using this one? It's because I want to ensure that all form sign-ups, all emails, all registrations is set up correctly using the Google email server instead of using the mail server from the server you are using. Why is that? Because the server we're using, particularly on WordPress, may have some issues from time to time, like you aren't able to receive emails or you are having some delivery issues. So to resolve that, I normally recommend using this particular plugin. And you just have to configure that one. WP Mail SMTP provide a very thorough guide on how to do that. But that basically involves setting up your mailer, the email server that you are going to use. Now, the default is WordPress, using the WordPress email server. But on my case, I selected Google so that it will use the email address I'm using with Google. It doesn't require you to sign up with Google Suite or other Google's email solutions. You can use your existing email address from Google and configure that. You just basically have to set up a client ID and secret using Google Cloud. Another thing, for the forms, I use reCaptcha, this one, to add additional level of security so that I'm not receiving any spam emails or spam comments or any further spam sign-ups, should I say. And you will normally notice that one on registration forms like this one. When you click on the Join this Bootcamp button, it will bring you to the registration page where the reCaptcha is active. So this is the reCaptcha. This is very important also when you have forms, because if you don't have one, it might have different spam sign-ups going through your website. Okay, so that's for the forms. Let's proceed with the database optimization, guys. Okay, so when you optimize database, whether in WordPress, that basically include like deleting the revisions on your WordPress posts. When you update your posts, there are just so many revisions that you can see within the editor. Those are actually saved on your database, and that adds additional, should I say, weight. It makes your database bigger. And we normally have to remove that one so that we just have the clean database on our website. And also, when you optimize your database, that includes using a certain plugin called Better Delete Revisions. And this is normally what we have on cebutechblogger.com, but I'm going to demo it here. The name of the plugin is Better Delete Revisions. Okay? And what it does basically is it will clean up your database, particularly delete the revisions that were saved on your database, like when you are editing on your WordPress posts and pages. Let me show you one example here. For example, this particular post. When you keep on editing a certain post, WordPress normally auto-save that one and save that as another table in your database, but that adds as another file to install within your database, making your database bigger than what it should be. So this is where you can see the revisions. It's normally at the bottom of the post editor. So this is one table on your database, but we don't normally need all of that, right? So we have to get rid of this. And to get rid of this, we will need a certain plugin called Delete Revisions. Now, we are going to use specifically the one that we have here by Gallerio and Orda. So just install that one and activate, of course. Here's the thing, guys. Once you have that activated, you just have to go to the settings of that particular plugin. It says you have 21 posts. Now, you just have to click on this button, check revision post, to check those posts which have so many revisions saved on your database. So let's do that. So it says that I have these posts that has revisions on it. Again, we don't need those revisions. It's already published. We can just get rid of that by optimizing the database. You can see the other button here. So that's for the database optimization. That's only one thing, guys. There are just so many options to optimize database, but that's something that we're gonna tackle for this particular session. So that's for the database optimization that we are going to do for now. Okay, so let's proceed with the other checklists. Performance tests. Now, this is very important. I normally recommend using GTmetrix to see your site performance in terms of page load. Now, with regards to the page loads, I'm actually very particular on this one. I really like a website that loads below 5 seconds. Google actually has a study of that users browsing a certain website that's loading so slow normally close the browser and switch to other tab or find another website. And for site owners like us, it's kind of a bad news because we lose that particular user just because of a very poor site experience, particularly on page load. Now, to monitor your site performance, you can use GTmetrix and do the tests and see the recommendations here. Normally the greens means good, but here these two are still something that we need to address. Before, we normally able to achieve a page speed score of 80-90%. This is something that we need to revisit on our case. But again, on your case also, you can use gtmetrix.com. And of course, you can use also the Search Console to optimize your site performance, like see if there's any errors on the site. So far, we have 0 pages with errors, and the 61 pages we have are all valid. You can use Search Console to investigate any potential issues on your site. And of course, you can have the Search Console also, like on content audit that we are going to discuss as we go along with the discussion. So that's for the performance test. Now, 404 errors, this is when you like have a broken link. And normally 404 errors involves creating a certain page that will address those users who landed on a certain page with no content. Now, on that certain 404 landing page, you are going to put options or additional contents that the users can check instead of closing the browser and leaving your site. And normally, when you deal with 404 errors, it involves fixing the broken links, because 404 means broken links or pages that the browser is unable to locate. So when you fix broken links, it involves a certain plugin also called Broken Link Checker. We can install that also here. You can search for Broken Link Checker. Now, what this particular plugin does, it checks broken links. It crawls on your site and notify you in any case there are certain links that are broken that you need to fix. And normally, when you have that plugin installed and activated, you can find it under the Tools section of your website here and click on this one. Okay, so no broken links found so far. Again, as the site continues to run over the next months or so, we might be able to have some broken links, and this particular plugin will take care of that. Okay, so that's for the broken links. Another thing is the content and SEO audit. Normally, this involves, again, Google Analytics also, and this one, Search Console, for the contents specifically, where you can see those search traffic that you are receiving on the site. And from there, using that information, you can further optimize your content, like updating the content based on the key phrases that appears on the Search Console or the keywords that you can see within Google Analytics. For the SEO, you normally have to use the plugin called Yoast SEO. This is the plugin that we are using to audit SEO. Now, since it's already installed, we can just go to the Yoast SEO section and see if there's any notification there that we need to address. Now, so far, it says no problem. We could detect no serious SEO problem. On some cases, you may see issues here, and that means you have to address that one. Okay, so that's for the SEO. Image optimization. Normally, when you do optimizing images, it involves ensuring the images are not too heavy. We recommend normally like 150 kilobytes in size. That's the benchmark that you can use, meaning whenever you see image files that you want to upload to your WordPress site and it's more than 150 kilobytes, that means you will need to use compressors or image resizing tools. And based on our previous discussion, we have discussed that one, right? Compress JPEG, 10JPEG, and other tools. And also, when you work on the images within WordPress, it's also very helpful when you use plugin like Smash. We have that one on TechWorks, Smash plugin. What this particular plugin does is it further resize the images and further optimize the images even if you have optimized beforehand. Okay, so using the Smash plugin, you can either manually resize those images that you have on your WordPress site, or you can have it resized when you are uploading the images, meaning right when you are uploading that, Smash will further optimize that before finally putting it on your server. So see, on this particular image, for example, the original image size is 29 kilobytes. It's further reduced by 8.4 kilobytes. So this is what Smash does. Now, let's talk about analytics and the tracking codes review. This means basically that you have to really check your site if the tracking codes are there, particularly your Google Analytics code and your Facebook Pixel or other tags like Google Tag Manager. Now, to do that, I normally just use a certain plugin called Google Tag Assistant, this one. It's an extension that's available on Chrome browser, Firefox, and I believe it's on other browsers too, like Safari. Now, you install that one, and you can use that plugin to check every page or even the home page just to make sure that you have the tracking codes there. Why it's important, guys? Because, again, we are tracking our users, and we use that data to further improve our digital marketing campaigns, right? Why I included that one in the checklist? It's because normally when you update your WordPress themes and you make changes on the website and you don't use like child themes or other similar configuration, normally the trackers are lost, particularly when you put it on the header.php file of your WordPress installation. Now, regularly checking this one will help you ensure that you are not missing any traffic data on your website, okay? Again, to recap that one, we have at least 15 checklists here that we have for the maintenance and backup recovery of your website. Now, we're going to continue on the backup so that I can show to you how really the updraft plus backup works. So let's go back to that. Oh, it's complete now. Now, take a look at this, guys. It says that it's already complete. Okay, so again, what we did earlier is we uploaded those backup files from the live site, from this one. We uploaded it to the div site so that we can have the changes first on the div site. Now, this is the div site and this is the live site. And we expect the div site to be the same as with the live site. Okay, so let's do that. So what you are going to do next is basically you just have to click on the restore. Remember this backup data, guys. These are the data that we uploaded, and Updraft Plus will give you an option to restore that site. So let's do that. Everything and restore. Okay, so this is why I really like Updraft Plus, guys, because it handles all updates necessary on the database so that the newly uploaded website will still keep its domain like this one instead of using the techworksph.com na domain. Okay, so we have to click on this one and restore. Let's see how it goes. Normally, guys, using Updraft Plus, I can replicate a website in 5 minutes, only if the site is very small. Okay, so there you go. Let's see what happened. Oops, there's an error here. Take a look at this. Fatal error, allowed memory size. Okay, so the memory size is limited on the particular server. Now, I'm going to adjust this one so that it continues to upload the new site from the live site. Now, normally when you see this one, allowed memory size, it basically refers to the memory allocation of your WordPress site. Now, where you're going to modify that one, you will have to go back to your server and change the memory allocation. So here, we are going to go to the multi-PHP editor here, and we are going to change the memory allocation there, specifically on the div.techworksph.com, our staging site. Now, find here the memory allocation. Here, it's 32 currently. Now, I can change this one to 128 MB. But remember, guys, that when you change that one, for the sake of backup and restoration, make sure that after doing the backup and restoration, you will revert that one to the original settings of 32 MB. Why? It's for your security also. It's actually good that we encountered this particular problem so that I'm able to show to you how to handle the memory allocations, the max upload limitations or settings. Okay, so let's go back to the ongoing uploads on staging. So let's try to continue. WordPress has been updated. Before we send it on your way, we have to update your database to the newest version. So here's the thing. Updraft keep on running in the background, and it finishes the upload of the backup files from the live sites to the div site. Now let's check again. So there you go, guys. We have our staging site, and then it asks us to continue the restoration. Okay, there you go. So your WordPress install has all directories from its state before you restored migrated. You should press this button to delete them as soon as you have. Remember, we have the previous div site. Now we have a new div site using the backup files from the live site. Now, Updraft Plus asks us to delete the old directories, the one that we have on the previous div site. So to do that, you just have to delete all directories. Now we have the new div site using the files from the live site. Okay, so let's try to visit our div site. So as you can see, guys, our div site will now look like very similar or the same as our live site. So this time I can proceed and make changes on the div site and take all the risk, because I have a div site that I can always destroy, and I have a backup that I can always upload and recover everything before making further changes on the live site. So here's the thing, guys. I'm going to update everything here without any worries on destroying the live site and causing issues to my users right now. Again, we have to update the WordPress version from the current version to the latest one, which is 5.1. So I have it updated already. Now I'm also going to update all plugins. Basically, what I'm showing here to you guys is it's kind of, I don't have any worries anymore because it's already on the dev site or the test site, and whatever I do there doesn't matter anymore for me. What else? The theme. I'm going to update that one. Although I may expect some issues on this one, that's basically the purpose why I'm doing this on staging. But if there's no any issue, I can have explore the staging if everything looks good and move it back to the live site, still using the same process using Updraft Plus. I can delete this one, guys, because I'm not using this anymore. What else? So WordFence. I'm basically just going back to what we have discussed earlier. These issues, I can delete this one. After updating our plugins and themes, you can have WordFence rescan so that it gives you a different result. Okay, here, comments. Remember that the live website, we deleted a comment, but when we deleted the spam comments, the particular backup files that we have still have those spam comments, right? So expect that to see here, because this is the files that we have prior to the demonstration on how to empty the spam comments. So that's basically it, guys, for our session on WordPress maintenance and backup recovery, and I'm opening the session for your questions and clarifications. Okay, so from Emmanuel Cornejo, sir, how to put the icon in the tab? Are you talking about the favicon here? The icon in the tab here, it's called favicon, and normally you can do that on the customizer. Within your customizer, depending on that theme installed, you can check first customizer if there's an option for you to set the favicon. For this particular installation, I'll check if there's an option on the customizer section. In any case, there's no option on the customizer. You can always hard code the favicon, like going through the WordPress files, figuring out which files handles the header files, and see where you can put the favicon. But let's try on the customizer. It's normally just within the customizer. Other than the Emmanuel's question, any other questions, guys, that you have? Emmanuel, I'm actually about to show you how to add favicon. As I've said earlier, it's normally under customizer here, and you can explore here. Normally it's on the site identity or header. So if you don't have further questions, thank you very much for joining this, and of course for staying on this particular session. Again, guys, thank you very much, and I'm hoping to see you next time.